Okay, there we go. We are now live, and this is being recorded to YouTube for the other members of the group to access later on, provided it doesn't blow up. This is what we call our roundtable critique, where everybody in attendance gets to submit one or two images. And we are going to share those images, and then as a group, we're going to offer critiques and insights into those images on an emotional and a technical level. How they affect us, how they look. Everybody gets to talk. You can ask questions, you can interrupt. And the only real rule is that if you're here, you have to talk about the image as well, okay? We have three folks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my desktop with you all. And this is where it blew up last weekend, remember?
Yes.
Which is why I brought my iPad so I can log back in. So here we go. We'll get the Hall of Mirrors. Can you all see my desktop?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, great. This part's working. So what I've got is I've got a series of images here. So this is Linda's. Since she's not here, whose is the red rocks?
Yeah, it's mine. I've learned afterwards I need to put my name on the titles.
That's fine. This is Richard. Richard, you got carried away, man. Look at all these.
I just did two.
Oh, no, you did three.
Well, I know, but one's the same image.
Oh, no. These are really wow pictures, too. The Weeping Brothers, is that yours, Carl?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's just start on the left. And even though Linda's not here, she really, really wanted to be. So we'll just dive right in. Now, unfortunately, we don't have Linda here to explain to us what her vision was. But I think that we can pretty much all guess what that was. She wants to portray this garden walk up to the fence going off, which is really invitingly open. And then we get to, with our imagination, venture through the gate out into that foggy field, which is really quite nicely done. I think she did a great job on this. I love the composition with the fence vertical, or the fence horizontal, and the walkway vertical, starting down here in this lower right-hand corner for the timbers, and on the left-hand corner for this row of flowers. I mean, it's very inviting. It leads us right up to the gate, and then our imagination can walk out through this little hole and wander around out here, thinking to ourselves, what is out there in that fog? It's very inviting. So, Sherry, what do you think?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
I warned everybody, if you're here, you get to talk.
For me, I'm not sure where I mean, I know the path is leading me to the gate, but I think the emphasis should be more what's on the other side. So I think it's losing a little bit for me because it's not making me focus more toward the gate. I focus more in the foreground.
Fair enough.
I mean, it's technically well done. But I'm not sure where my focus should be.
Well, yeah, I look at it as kind of two sides of a coin, and your point's well taken. What should be the primary focus of our imagination? Is it this walkway to the partially open gate, or is it what is beyond? Well, I mean, we have the known subject matter here, and then we have the unknown out here inviting us through. Had we done it differently, as well it could have been just as powerful or more powerful. We
I think for me, perhaps the sides of the walkway should be a little darker. And
Mm-hmm.
the center should be a little bit more. I mean, just to draw my eye in, I think. It's not drawing my eye into the center, it's drawing my eye into the whole foreground. So that I think that's what the issue is for me. So that's why I said I'm not sure where I'm supposed to go with that.
So Sherry,
yeah.
it looks like we lost Mark, and hopefully he will and hopefully he will chime back in with the iPad.
Yeah, one of them or the other. This happens a lot, Carl.
You know, I've seen that from the other videos I was watching. One of the members was singing Frozen all the time, if I remember right, whenever it happened.
Mm.
So, Sherry.
Yes, my dear.
I like your critique, and I agree with a lot of it. But my biggest issue is that it's almost a little too dead center.
Well, you know, probably if she had darkened a little bit on each side of the walkway and just given us more defined line toward the middle, it might not have seemed so centered, because then you would have seen the curve more, because there is a curve there.
Yes.
You know?
But I like the image a lot. I'm kind of influenced because she had another picture she posted to the general public of a tree in the fog with some beautiful autumn colors that I really liked. And I liked what she's been doing with taking pictures with fog.
Well, fog is really an interesting dynamic visual
Okay,
thing.
I am working on fixing this problem.
We're not missing you much. I mean, we're
Okay,
missing
that's
you a
fine.
lot.
At least I know my place.
We're missing you a lot. Sorry.
That's all right.
You know what I'm playing with right now, Richard?
What?
Is I was looking at some things, and like with that fog, for instance, if you had stepped outside the gate and over to the side, maybe putting a flash over there, which would have lit the fog a little bit. Just random things now is what things that I'm playing around with. Like I'm waiting for rain so I can get outside and light the rain while I'm photographing someone standing, but the rain behind them coming down.
Well, I like the colors of the flowers on the path. I think there's whoever planted them had some good complementary colors. I like the image.
That's a beautiful image. Yeah, definitely.
I too like the image, and I can understand where you were saying the placement of where the fence is. I also had to see if it was too centered, but it works. And I think if I was photographing the same thing, I would struggle where to place that fence. It's not exactly centered, but it appears so. But I also think whether or not you concentrate on the foreground or you concentrate on the background all depends on where you are with the picture, because it's all hazy and you can get all philosophical about the background, and then the front's all clear and exact and beautiful, and then the pathway leading between the 2 points. I don't know. I have trouble photographing fog also as one of my print shows, but I think it's interesting.
Mark, are you around?
I think we lost him.
Again. Marky Mark. So anyway, put your photo up, Richard, or put yours up, Carl, because I have none. We can
My what?
Since he's not here, we can just put your photo up.
I'm here. Can you see me now?
There we go.
All right. So give me a second. I think I've corrected the issues here. Let me go back to the, boy, I'm sorry I missed what you guys had to say, but it did capture it all. Is my screen up?
Your screen is up. We're
Okay.
going through the Hall of Mirrors. Now we're to your screen.
Okay. So we're not going to waste any more time on this because you guys have already discussed this. Okay, did we come to a viable resolution?
It's a good picture.
I liked it.
Yeah. Did anybody talk about exposure and contrast and post-processing?
No.
I think Sherry touched a little bit on right in this area here. She said that she wanted this to be darker. Another thing I would have done is I would have lightened the greenery in the shrubbery a wee bit and then increase the saturation on the color of the flowers. All right. And maybe de-emphasize this mystical background just a wee bit with some negative structure to take out a little bit more of the detail. Carl, are you familiar? What do you use for an editor?
I use Lightroom, a little bit of Photoshop, and the Nik software.
Okay, so you're familiar with what I'm talking about then.
Yeah, in fact, I was going to ask you, when it comes to the fog, is it common to use the negative structure on it?
Not necessarily. It depends on what you want to do with this foreground. If you want to de-emphasize this background a little bit more, a little negative structure would do it. Or you can add another layer of fog to it in Color Effects Pro. There's a graduated fog filter in there.
Mm-hmm.
And you could put just a little bit right up in this area here.
Right.
I would have put a little bit more structure in the pathway here, bringing out more of the details of these wood chips. Okay.
And that would have drawn your eye toward it more.
Say that again, Sherry.
I would have been drawn toward the pathway more.
Well, I think that is her intent on this. See, and we don't have the advantage of giving her the opportunity of telling us what her intent was as she pre-visualized this when she was standing there, which is so important when we do a critique, you know?
But I really like the idea of having the fog in the background so that it leaves a lot to your imagination.
Oh yeah, yeah, it does. It draws you into this unknown. Okay, so let's talk about Carl's image here. Carl, you have the opportunity to tell us your intent. What was it you were attempting to capture here? What are you telling us?
I'm not sure, and the reason
that won't fly here, man.
Yeah, I've learned that through months. But when I was photographing all this stuff, I didn't really stare at this scene very long, and I didn't do it like a pre-analyzation of it. I was actually photographing the sunset, which is off to the right of the screen. And the sun was setting, and I already took a myriad of exposures of it, and I was just waiting for the sky to light up. In fact, I was in one of those positions. Is there going to be a good sunset, or is there going to be a terrible sunset when the sun went down? You know, I was waiting for it the light to radiate with red and everything else. And it turned out to be a very boring sunset, and I was wondering what I was going to do. And I looked off to my left, and there's these red rocks, and that's pretty close to what it looked like. The ambient light, so I go, shit. Oh, excuse me.
Oh, no, that's fine.
Okay.
If we go too far, Sherry will reach through the screen and smack us, trust me.
Yeah, it was more of a quick, oh my God, look at that. And I had a 10 stop on. Well, I put the 10 stop on real quick, and I took it. It's probably about as much foresight as I put into that, because I knew the light was going to fade fast. You know, the sun was going just before it went down to the horizon in this case.
Okay. Well,
and it kind of shows too. I could see it on your screen here, where it almost looks like the tripod got hit.
Well, you know, this can happen. Was it windy?
No.
Because this is a 320-minute exposure.
Yeah, it was a long one.
And for the rocks out here, for these rocks out here to lose focus, really says that either the water was moving the rocks or the camera was moving slightly.
Yeah, more than likely I bumped the camera or something because I could just see it here.
Did the water come up and wash over the base of it?
Water. The surf was low, but water was washing up, especially on these forefronts. Water was running over it. Yes.
So the water hit the tripod.
No, the tripod was back.
Okay. Well, it doesn't matter in this case. I do so enjoy ultra long exposures. You can ask these guys here; they'll tell you. I love the fact that you have a very straight horizon. It's crisp, it's sharp. The waves must have been huge, given the fact that this was 300. 320 or 312 or something. And I'm still seeing a little bit of form of the water here and out here. Every one of these changes in color. This is where the water's rolling over something underneath. That's interesting. Do you notice this white line going across the bottom?
Yeah, I see it very prevalent. Shortly after this photograph, I'm looking at it and going, why did I submit this one?
Oh, no, this is a good one to submit.
Well, shortly after I submitted this, I did change my 10 stop. I think it was a Hoya 10 stop, and I went and got splurged and bought was it B&H? B&W 10 stop.
Yeah.
That white line might be from the 10 stop. Or could be light leaking in the back.
No, if it was a light leak, it wouldn't be perfectly straight.
Yeah.
Okay, and it would be wider at one end than at the other. I'm not sure what this is. When we do your Hangout, bring this image with you and bring the raw image, okay?
Okay.
Look and see if this is in the raw image.
I will.
Now, you probably took more than one image here, didn't you?
Yeah, I even have a black and white of it too.
Yeah, if you have another file, look and see if you've got a white line in that.
I will.
Okay, because
the odds of it being the filter that's perfectly horizontal would make it unlikely that it would be the filter.
oh yeah, that's impossible.
Yeah.
I could see it if you were using a square filter.
Yeah.
Or multiple square filters, and one of them wasn't quite down off the bottom of the lens, then you could get this.
Yeah.
But you were using a round filter.
Correct.
So that can't be it. So yeah, let's remember this image. Let's go back to this image and let's revisit this one again in the future, okay?
Right.
But in the meantime, if you would look at other images from this shoot and see if you've got a white line there too.
I think I switched lenses on this one too. I think it's a kit lens.
Yeah, but I don't think that this is not going to be a lens problem.
Okay.
This could be all kinds of strange things. But let's look and see down the line, okay?
All right.
Now, I understand your placement of the horizon. It was in order to get these. I would call these coquina rocks because this is what we call them here on the East Coast. Okay, to get these in the bottom and to have this here, which are your two main subjects, and then the horizon just has to fall where it will. I think that the editing and the lighting and the colors on these foreground rocks and the rocks here under the mist of the water going over them is very, very well done. I do think that this big rock here, these three large stones, This is a little dark. I would consider or suggest that maybe you lighten this just a little using Vivisa. Just put a control point here, add a little bit of structure and a little bit of lightening. In fact, I don't know. Let's just look at it real quick. Let's see what that does. We'll use shadow instead of brightening. If I can grab the, there we go. Yeah, see, even what a little bit does to that.
Yeah, there's much more detail present.
Structure will help because the structure will actually lighten. Okay. And then simply, you know, move that edit around these stones. There we go. And let's just say okay to that. And now here's the before and there's the after.
Yeah, it makes a world of difference.
A little bit of a change in the post-processing can make a huge difference. That's the only post-processing suggestion that I have. Richard, what do you think?
I agree completely, and I really like the way this image, having foreground subject, the blurred water in the midground, and then the rocks, and then another layer. And the light is wonderful, and as you said, it's just the sharpness. Outside of that, I think this is a image I wish I had seen and made.
Yeah. I'm going to experiment with something else here real quick.
You take away the horizon?
Yeah, I'm going to take away the horizon.
So, Mark.
Yes.
Do you ever use a luminosity mask instead of Vivasa?
No, sir.
Okay.
I go with the...
Uh-oh.
Well, my opinion, Carl, is that I think it is a beautiful picture or image. I like the colors, and it's worth going back out and doing it several more times to perfect it. I mean, it's a stunning position. I like exactly where everything was, and it's just going out there having a blast doing it again.
Yeah, it was very peaceful out there.
Is this close to you?
It's in the I don't know if you're familiar with the Palos Verdes area, but it's pretty. They're bluffs along the ocean, cliffs, so to speak. So you go down, I don't know, 150 feet to the coastline, and you get this cove, and this is where it's at. And it's pretty rocky and whatnot, and it's one of the few areas where you could actually get away from things. But right behind me is nothing but, we were talking $1 million homes and everything else.
Is that where SeaWorld used to be?
Marineland, exactly, is one cove away from Marineland.
Yeah.
Wow, I can't believe you have such incredible landscapes so close. In Dallas, there is no such thing.
There,
you have your
there's a
own
few areas, yeah.
Don't you?
Pardon?
No, he said in Dallas, but I'm saying he has his own unique stuff.
Right.
You know, it's for those that get the water, they look at all these other things that people shoot, and you go, "Wow, I wish I could do that." You know?
Yeah, you have issue. You have trees on the East Coast, forest on the East Coast. I wish I could visit. You know, I've seen hundreds of pictures of them, the streams and whatnot.
Oh well, that's part of moving here was to have the opportunity to experience it. You know, that's just phenomenal to me. I went chasing lighthouses up the East Coast, from Connecticut to Rhode Island. I call it chasing because I was going from lighthouse to lighthouse.
Yeah, and the lighthouses are beautiful, like you said. They're architecturally
The landscape is stunning. And then I went back to California about a month ago, and I visited my daughter up in Sacramento. So we drove up to the Oregon coast.
Yeah, that's stunning.
Just by the state line. Oh my God, that's stunning. I forgot how beautiful. It reminds me of California used to be, when we were growing up. When it wasn't so crowded and so many houses on.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Were you gone?
Yeah. It wasn't the internet. It was the screen sharing blew up the Hangout. So now I've got. See, I'm even screen sharing. Okay, there you got me. Okay, you can see my screen share on one computer and you can hear me on the other.
Yes, no
Is that
problem.
what you're doing?
Life is good.
Is that what
All
you're
right.
doing?
So did we get an opportunity? Did you guys get an opportunity to?
Yeah, we're good to move on to the next image.
All right. All righty. Richard, by golly, it's your turn.
Oh no. So this is part of an abandoned copper mine. And it was in a very dark metal building, but it had these huge open windows at the top, which are the problem in trying to make the image, because there was no angle that I could take a picture of the machinery and not have the bright blown out windows somewhere in the image.
Yeah. Yeah, that was, aside from the power of the image, which is an extremely powerful image, that was the first thing I noticed was that window. But it's one of those things. Sometimes you get the bear and sometimes the bear gets you. And I think on this image, that's a fair saying because it works here. But you know what? Even with this bright window here, it really fits in with the industrial nature of what we're looking at. And I don't mind it. I think the colors and the composition for this are amazing. It just draws me in. I look at this and it screams wabi-sabi. And I ask myself the all-important question, Richard. Why the heck wasn't I there with you?
I don't know. I didn't even know until we arrived. No one told me what we were going to see.
Was this with your club?
No, this was actually in Cuba.
Oh. Oh, boy, this is cool. I love it. It's very powerful.
And that's where I wanted to capture.
Yeah. And the image is full of triangular forms and shapes. See up here across the girders, down the sides, even in the little cutouts of the flywheel for the motor. This is just some big old antique electric motor.
Right.
I can see the motor coils and the magnets. So even here in these cutouts, we were getting these triangular shapes that just really scream powerful, strong image, and I love this. This I haven't looked at the other ones very much yet. But
Okay, so we lost the screen on the image.
Okay, this might be one of your stronger images that I have seen you put forth.
Well, I spent a lot of time just shooting this. I had to shoot on tripod, long exposure, and I had to kick people out of the scene, which took time. I had to wait for them to shoot for a while, but then I figured if I waited long enough, then I asked, I was going to not get they wouldn't get too mad at me.
Okay.
So my concern is, am I way over processed on it, a little over processed, or you're okay with it?
No, I'm okay with it. I think that the colors and the tones are right in mid-level. I see no problem with it at all.
And now this is an HDR, but I did not I did all the work in Lightroom. I didn't tone map it with the HDR program.
Okay. All right.
And it was really dark in there.
I would guess that it would be dark. Like I said, I feel that the colors are nicely muted. I just see no issue with this whatsoever.
The original, on one of the original photos, how many photos did you use? Images?
This is one stop on either side HDR, but I must have taken 10 images trying to recompose and get it the way and the biggest problem was the big window on the left, and then I shot about 10 images vertical.
Okay, the window, did you have a photo that had the window at its darkest? Because then you could have blended that in to take out that light. Is he gone?
Right, but it's just...
You're frozen. Okay.
I didn't go more than one stop on either side.
Okay.
So it was still going to be...
Sometimes if you have that coming through, take one image just for that bright light.
No, I think that's a good idea.
Very good.
One for the bright light and then take the rest of them. Then while you're working, you've got enough images to bring down whatever you need to or bring up whatever you need to.
Yeah, you could have actually had a blue sky showing through here.
Huh?
Yeah,
right.
You could have had a blue sky.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now what I like about it is it's the composition, the circle within a circle within a circle. Because when you look at the image itself, what draws you in first is that little circle right, it's snapped at in the middle, and then you've got almost a circle going right after that. Then you have the circle with the three little circles. Then you have the circle with the things coming, what do you call spikes, whatever. Then you have the other circle. Then you have another circle. It's just a circle within a circle.
Yeah.
And over to your right at the bottom, there's another circle.
Yeah. This one is actually a little bit of a distraction.
Mm-hmm.
But you still, and then over here you have circles. So I just think circles within a circle. It's just too bad you can't cut it out and just around the red circle and then put it just there.
Yep. Let's take that one step further, Sherry.
Yes.
Compositionally speaking, if we're shooting an image of multiple subjects, what's the prime number of flowers, for instance, if we're going to shoot multiple flowers that you want in your scene?
I think it's a personal thing, but if I'm shooting multiple flowers, I like an uneven number of like 7.
3. But you're right about the uneven. I will go with that. But 3 leads to less confusion and less clutter. Okay. And look what you've done here. 1, 2, 3 large circles, and then 3 little circles, 3 cutouts.
I hadn't seen that.
3 cutouts. Okay. Like I said, this is a fabulous image. I would clone this out. Okay. This one is a bit of distraction.
Okay.
But this is such an easy fix.
And when you get really good at Photoshop, you take all of that out, get rid of the background, and just put it on something black.
But I like this, Richard. This is an amazingly powerful image, and it just is pleasing in every sense of the word.
Yep.
Well, thank you, because that is when you see something like that, that's what you want to capture is the power.
Yes.
Did you realize you had all those circles when you first saw it?
I saw some of them. The smallest circle I saw because it was sticking out, and of course I saw the big rotor, but I didn't see the 3 circles that are in a line, and I really didn't see the larger circle. I was looking at the bigger image, and I didn't see Oh, yes, I didn't see the other ones.
Yeah, the cutouts.
But you knew there
Everything's
was something. You knew there was something there other than that one big circle.
yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
yeah.
Now you know
So
what it was.
Well, and I had to make sure that I put the camera just sitting just off the ground, just so that I could center it on that one circle. That was the most important part.
hmm Well, you've achieved it, and like I said, I can even deal with the bright light showing through here. Yeah, it's a slight distraction, but it's one that we can bear with to have this wonderful, powerful image.
Could Vivisa tone that down a little bit?
Well, you could
There's-
actually copy from over here and
Show 'em how to
place
do
it
it.
over here.
Show them how to do it.
Oh,
No, I know how to do it, but
yeah.
but it's getting all the lines, and then you're going to have the light coming off the roof, and it's just not going to look right.
Well, then copy from here
Yeah.
over
No,
across.
no, that I agree. Yeah, that would make more sense.
Yeah, because you have enough here. You could clone it across. But no, there's no toning this light down without turning it a horrid gray, icky color.
Okay.
If you want to do anything, copy in the shutter a bit,
Mhm.
but leave the light otherwise. All right, I love it. Well done, man.
So he's starting to be a wabi-sabi kind of guy, huh?
Yeah, it's scary. Carl, anything to say?
Here's a mantle. I'm giving it to you.
The colors are just fantastic, as you said. The textures. I'm really zoning in on the graffiti on the left-hand side of the window on the wheel. It just, if that's what it is, it just for me it makes the picture, and for me, I think it is the picture for the whole thing, if that makes sense. I just love the graffiti right there. It adds to the paint that's chipping off, and to the dirt, and to the grease, and to the grime, and it stands out because it's white. And I think that's perfect. I love it.
Yeah, if you zoom into it, it's almost a Picasso-ish graffiti figure.
Yes, it really. Yeah, yeah. I can see it on the bottom there.
How about just recropping for another image of just the graffiti?
Yeah.
There's just so much in here, Richard, that's good. This is very infantile graffiti. Did you guys notice that?
Could be teenagerhood. You know, look at the angles where they're not, it could be a teenager, to me,
Yeah.
especially with the accent on the woman's body there.
Yeah. This is a home run, Richard.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Let's see.
So but the vertical versus the horizontal, it has to be the horizontal because there's too much distraction with the vertical.
Yeah, but this is very well balanced also, because we've got light on both sides. All right. I do like the close-up that we just finished better than this. It's just way more powerful.
Okay, well that's what I wanted.
I think the cropping, taking the ceiling out, because the light in the top up there is distracting from the actual subject matter.
All right, let's see if I can restart the computer. Maybe I'm having a software problem on the computer. I just don't know. Let me turn and look at the internet. No, it seems to be on. Amazing. All of these strange problems, huh? All right, let me see if I can screen share one more time. I keep getting screen sharing failed errors. And I don't dare restart the software, or we will lose.
Now, can I screen share?
Oh, absolutely.
I would have to go to the Hangout, to the Google Drive page, and because I don't have it in. Let's see what happens.
All right.
I may need some help.
And I'm going to continue to see if I can restart this. Let me stop the internet.
All right, I'm doing something wrong. Sorry.
No, you're screen sharing. You had it there. You have to close that. You have to shrink that window down.
Oh, okay. Let me. Are we sharing or not?
We're marking.
Let me start it over again. Share.
Got it.
Can y'all see this?
Yes.
Well,
Or
there you go.
okay, do you want to go to Linda's and we can come back to the, or we can go to
No,
Carl's?
you've got it up. You've got it up. Let's go with it.
Okay. So I wanted to do a similar thing. This is part of the copper mine. These are the motors that run the elevators that bring the cars up and down from the mine.
Okay.
And it wasn't quite symmetrical, but I wanted to see if I could capture some of the massiveness of it. I had to lighten up under the platform. It was a little bit too dark. I didn't want to oversaturate it too much because once I brought up saturation, those vertical posts on either side became bright red, but I could have taken those down alone. But I was trying to get the symmetry and the power and the fact that it was old and decayed. And I want to get texture without over processing it.
Okay. Well, you achieved your goal. You know, the very first thing I noticed, aside from the power of these big engines, right, is I noticed the vertical supports. Okay. I see that. You might want to shift the perspective of this upper right-hand corner up just a fraction of an inch to make to make that line truly horizontal.
And the top, and so I need to use transform.
Yeah, use transform and skew.
Right.
Either that, or since the motors themselves look nice and straight, crop that top out.
Okay.
All right. I like the colors. I love the composition. It's a little distracting that this handrail is going off into the ozone, but over here, we have it. So maybe since this is probably gone, right?
You're right.
Make the one on the left-hand side match it.
Okay.
See the wonderful rust on the tops of the motors?
I can make that a little rustier looking.
Yeah. Use a control point. Add structure, and add some saturation, and play with the brightness. Try it up and try it down, and see what she does.
Okay. Because
that rust, I think if the rust was in our face, I don't care about any of the other colors, just this rust.
Well, that'll complement the green.
Yeah, in a big way. in
Thank
a
you.
big way.
I hadn't thought about that.
Okay, Mr. Carl, what do you say?
I keep looking at it as a black and white, but that's just me.
Oh, I've tried it as black and white.
Yeah, because I really like the paint textures on this one also. The chipping paint and whatnot right over here on the right-hand motor. And it would be interesting with that real dark circles next to it, so to speak. It'd be hard to process, I think, but it should be really interesting.
You want to download it and play with it?
Why,
I don't think I could do it justice. I'm not that far yet, my friend.
why don't we hold that thought, Richard, and you upload a full-size image of this as you've processed it to the group drive, and we'll use this as one of our examples tomorrow night.
Okay, do you want a TIFF?
Yeah. Oh, it can be a JPG.
Okay.
I just want the full-size image.
All right.
Okay. And we'll use this as one of our examples in the black and white hangout tomorrow night.
Okay. Next.
Because if I will tell you, I like the color version, but I agree with Carl. I think this could be a powerful black and white. But whenever I'm doing old buildings, landscapes, shrimp boats, long exposures, I will always process in color first. And then when I'm done with it and I have a finished image, then I will process it in black and white. Get your color work done first, because it'll give the black and white software more data to work with.
Well, I think it'll be nice in black and white because you're going to have the whatever those circular things are, that should be pure black. And you're going to have variations in colors here. That
You know what those are? Those are indicators. Those are dials that show where the elevator's at.
That's a man thing. I don't know all that.
Thank you. I've been wondering kind of what that was, and that makes perfect sense.
Those are indicators of where the elevator's at, and that piece of metal sticking out, that's the watch dial.
Right.
Watch.
Okay.
What is it? Watch.
It's the pointer that moves around the
elevator.
circle.
Oh, it tells you what level the elevator's at.
Yes.
Right.
Ah. Okay.
So that's the engineer in me.
Gotcha.
I really like this, Richard. Why don't you please, if you get some time, upload the large version? We'll use that.
I'll do it as soon as we're off the Hangout. I'll upload it.
Sherry, what do you think? Black and white or color or both?
Well, I was just saying, I think it has the tonal ranges for black and white.
Yeah.
It's just the black needs to be blacker, and some other issue.
Okay. Yep.
I think the rust has to pop a little bit more before we convert it.
Yep.
And I
agree.
probably would darken the platform a little bit.
That might work well as also.
I agree.
And see this green foreground, this green front?
That's what you want to stand out, yeah.
Yeah, brighten that.
And then go right through the center of those two big things that are open in the middle, and sort of brighten that up a little bit so it takes you right straight through to that.
Hey, Richard, when you were there, did you walk over and shoot through those big motors and pulleys?
No, I did not. I wasn't seeing that. I was just looking at the big picture.
I think that particular piece of machinery, you could have had such opportunity to there's so much there that could have had different images.
Yeah, you could have spent hours on this one machine.
Standing different places.
Yep. But boy, what you did is very, very good.
Thank you.
So,
all right.
Yeah. All right. So why don't you stop your screen? Oop, what's this?
This is Carl's.
Oh, well then you may as well just keep on screen sharing then.
That's what I figured.
Okay. Believe it or not, I am receiving all of this on my computer. And I'm talking to you on my iPad. So
Whatever
I may
works.
try. I may try tomorrow night using a different web browser. Wow. Where is this, Carl?
This would be the Yosemite Valley
This
at
is just limited there.
Tunnel
You're
View.
right. There's the waterfall.
Yeah, that'd be Brighterville Falls. That's Three Brothers. That's about all that's recognizable. The main monument behind the Three Brothers is the Sentinel, and everything else is fogged in, the valley and the left going out of scene.
Okay.
Sun is rising. You can see the bright spot left center.
Yep. Let me ask you a question. And the reason I'm going to ask you this question is because I'm going there at the end of April for 2 weeks, and
Good time.
well, I'm going to San Francisco for 2 weeks. We're going to spend 3 days in Yosemite. Was this a long walk to get up to this vantage?
Mm-hmm.
No. First thing on your timing, this picture was taken in the second week of April of last year, or this year of second week of April. I've just recently returned. This scene is called Tunnel View. If you're arriving from Yosemite from the south, you would take this long road that comes through, and the very end of the road is this long tunnel. And you see a light at the end of the tunnel, you keep driving to it, and as soon as the light opens up, you're seeing a much larger scene of this. El Capitan would be on the left. This is just a fraction of the scene. It's a big wow moment. And when I drove through the tunnel and I saw all the fog through the valley, my jaw dropped. It was just unbelievable.
Okay.
I cannot do this picture. There's no justice to be done. I'm just not good enough to capture what I saw and felt.
Well, then what lens did you shoot this with?
This was last year, so this is probably one of my kit lenses. I don't have it with me right now. This is probably, looks like it's it's a zoom, and it's probably around 80, I would assume.
Hold on, I'm
Depending
going to
how far back I was.
look up. Okay, it was the 24 to 85, and you were at 72. So yep. See, I'm going to take a large format camera with me.
Oh, God bless you. You know that's perfect for that area.
Oh yeah. Okay. Thank you for the update. That works very well for me. I'm always asking about Yosemite because I'm going to spend some
No, I
time
just
there.
returned from there 3 weeks ago.
Boy, this just I wouldn't want this in color. This is just meant to be black and white with this stormy sky, and this was just right at sunset. Well, it has to be a little bit later because the sun's coming over a mountain.
Sunrise, actually.
Yeah.
You're looking east.
Okay. This is a wonderful image. I like the composition. I like the stair step of the Three Brothers, the waterfalls. I think the processing is good. I think that I might suggest a little bit more work on the rock face in the lower right corner. On
That
both
used to be a
sides,
pine tree.
on both sides of the falls and slightly above the falls, I'd like to see a little bit more contrast in that, and maybe you can achieve it simply with just adding structure to it. I'm not sure, but I'd like to see a little bit more contrast in those rocks there because I want my eyes to zoom right in on that. The very first thing, I want the world to know that is the main subject for me. Now, it may not have been for you, but in me as the viewer, this is what I'm looking at. I am wishing to see more moodiness, and it's going to be the contrast that brings that moodiness in, just like it does on the peak above the waterfall. See how that's got a bit more contrast and darkness?
Well, yeah. I originally had it that way, and I thought it was too dark, but that was just my opinion. And I also along the light faces of the cliff, I've I lightened those up a lot.
Yep, and that's probably a good idea. You may want to take that a little bit further as you add the dark areas, as you increase the contrast in the dark areas. Maybe brighten up that light rock face as well.
Yeah.
This is a difficult shot. This is an extremely wide dynamic range. I mean, if I sit here and I look, I mean, we've got black to white across this entire image, which means that you nail the exposure on this dead on.
It was originally zone 0 to 10. I still got a little 0 there, as you can see in the left bottom.
Now, don't tell me that you think in the zone system too.
I'm learning about it. I'm trying to shoot in it. In fact, when I took this picture, I just started learning digital zone, and I shot the highlights and the clouds around 8, I think, if I remember right. I'm not that successful with it yet. I'm still practicing it.
All right. Well, Miss Sherry is a practitioner of the zone system.
Well, there's one thing I think I noticed, and I'm hoping it's my screen. But did I see some spots on this?
I'm not seeing any on mine, but I can't zoom in. Although I can go. Oh yeah, there might be.
Yeah.
We really picked on you about that.
Oh
no,
yeah,
I'm glad you did.
Yeah,
this is one of those pictures that are developed about 3 or 4 times, and for this I redeveloped it. I've never been super happy with anything I've done on it, and I forgot to remove the spots.
Oh yeah, that gets your hand slapped here.
So that means you have to clean your sensor.
There's a big pine tree on the right hand bottom. I had to take that out. Tunnel View has 2 pine trees that are famous for being in the way of the picture, and you can see the smudge marks right there. Yeah. The other one's on the left hand side, out of picket. They're just terrible. You wish the Forest Service would come and chop them down, but that defeats the purpose of the national park,
Yeah. Well, this is stunning, and this just makes me sing with joy at seeing this image and what you've captured here. Wonderful clouds coming over the top of the mountains and down, and the sky is moody, and just great dynamic range. You clean your sensor. You do know how to clean your sensor, right?
I've never cleaned it. I do blow it out, and I do I remove my spots that I do have in anything I have, especially when I'm changing the lenses a lot.
And what are you shooting with?
Meaning what?
Your camera.
Oh, a Nikon, a 610.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
We'll get Mark to do a how do you clean the sensor.
I don't know if we could get a camera to zoom in on that. I think that would probably be a subject better presented in a live workshop.
Boy, those spots look like zits.
Well, the 600 had the oil spot problem, and
Oh, that's right. The 600 was known for that.
Yeah.
But the 610 is supposed to fix that.
Yeah, the 610's clean on oil spots. At least mine is, I would think. My newest ones don't have spots.
Well, Jamie, I run a workshop company, and I have a partner, a young woman. Her name's Jamie, and she had the 600 and hated it because of the oil spots. And then they sent her a 610 to replace it, and she didn't like it either. So she bought the one of the 800, the 810, I believe.
Probably the 810. That's a popular one. I can't afford it right now. So I'm putting a little money I have in new glass.
You want to hang on to it. We're real tough about converting people to new cameras here, aren't we?
Are you shooting? Carl, are you shooting infrared yet?
No, not yet. But I've seen I haven't watched the videos, but I've seen them, and I know Mark's an infrared man.
All right.
Oh
you know it's in your future.
Yeah,
infrared camera.
Like a big old drug dealer. Okay, well done.
Thank
you. Yeah, I think that picture could be improved a little with a little bit of contrast work, and maybe lightening that rock face a little bit more.
Okay.
But it's already a powerful image. I just love it.
Well, I got more like that on the valley floor, with all fogged in, just like that.
Okay. So, which one? We're going to do the grist mill.
Whose is that?
This is Linda's. I requested that Linda upload a couple of hers because I am really liking her work. And this, I think, I love the fact there are no straight lines anywhere.
Interesting.
Well, this was at our West Virginia workshop last month that I did not get to attend because of the hurricane. So Jamie had to do this one on her own. You know, when you have a storm like that, you can't leave your family. You have to stay with them.
Is that what they told you?
There was no question. I mean, you know, there's no question you had to be there.
Yeah.
Is that what they told you, Mark?
What?
Is that what your family told you?
No, that's what I told them. They told me to go. I said no.
Oh, such a good man.
Uh-oh.
Oh, I heard a beep. There we go.
What's the beep?
That was my telephone next to the computer.
Yeah, this is one of the locations for the workshop. This was a grist mill that everybody was worried that we wouldn't be able to visit, but I went into the public domain documents and saw that it was public and the visitors were allowed. So that's something to you guys to keep in mind. You can go search out addresses in the county records online and find out if you can access them or not, or if you're trespassing. This is a wonderful infrared image. Can Sherry, do you remember, or Richard, do you remember what the nanometer conversion is of her camera?
She has an
The 800 something.
Yeah.
I think it's an 850 or 8.
An 850. Okay. Wow. You know,
yes.
You're right. I just love that absolutely nothing is straight in this image. This whole image is just helter-skelter, starting with the rocks in the foreground and the lower. That might not even be rocks. That might even be a big old stump or a tree.
Yeah, it looks like a log. That's a log.
Yep, and then the grasses are going this way and that way, and the mill is leaning, by the way.
Yes.
She's got very precise control of the exposure. There's nothing blown out yet. We're getting solid black to solid white. The solid white, of course, is the sun pushing through the clouds through the tree limbs down in the lower right-hand corner of the roof of the mill. I mean, this just screams wabi-sabi. I mean, I would have given anything to have been there and shot this in film. But it's sharp. Look at the sharpness of this. I think she's using a 5D Mark II for her infrared camera.
Yes.
Yeah, this is just a wonderful capture.
I think I have no criticism of it. It's just
it tells a story of a time long gone, and yet it's struggling to stay with us. And it's scenes like this that, as photographers, we should be out shooting these scenes while they're still available to us. Okay?
I mean, the only possible improvement is if for any chance this branch had been a little bit higher to frame the peak of the gable, but that's the only, and you can't, there's nothing you can do about that.
Well, no, there is. She could get
lower.
But
she may be as low as she could have gotten. I don't know.
No, that's possible. That is possible.
Because Linda's usually pretty observant of all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want that log to go out of the foreground. That log is a wonderful anchor point. But maybe she could get lower and move in a little bit towards the log so that she could just squeak that branch by, 2 or 3 inches above the peak of the roof. I don't know. We can't second guess her. This might have been all she could get. Plus, we have to remember that hurricane had gone through, and it was sucking in all the moisture in the atmosphere for 1,000 miles, in a complete circle around that hurricane. And they had torrential rains when they were out shooting.
And I like the mood in the sky. There's just enough there that it's not a blank sky. The cloud, there's no bright clouds to draw your eye away, but there's enough to give you texture.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. Sherry, what do you think of this one?
I think it's stunning.
Makes you want to go out and shoot infrared, doesn't it?
I don't have a camera yet. That one, I don't know why.
You're still going to go with the color one, right?
Sorry, but there's something
No,
about
that's fine.
Color that
this would be very interesting in color infrared too.
Something appealing to me about that. I just don't know what it is.
All right, Mr. Carl.
I enjoy it. It's almost perfect to me. I almost expect to see the headless horseman coming down the path there. Infrared, I'm not used to seeing a lot of infrared, so I'm looking at it as a black and white, and it looks fine. It's a little bright in the center for me, but that's just my opinion. And it's infrared, and I know that it picks. I think it lightens up the greens, if I remember right.
Yeah, plus this is high contrast black and white infrared.
Yeah.
So what happens are leaves that still have any amount of green left in them will actually flare out and become a little unsharp, almost as though they're glowing, which is what that grass is doing.
Yeah.
And that's called the wood effect, and that is a known property of deep contrast black and white infrareds, whether you shoot digitally or film. So, I mean, if you look at this, if you've done any infrared work at all, you look at this, you know immediately that we're looking at a wood effect section in that grasses in front of that mill. Okay, and that is an expectation.
No, I like the lights. They're great.
Yep. And infrared will also draw out the texture in the sky that our eyes are incapable of seeing.
That's one of the most impressive things about infrared for me, is the sky.
Yep. But no, that doesn't mean that we're going to force you to shoot infrared. Okay.
Right.
I'm currently working on Jimmy. You notice I call him Jimmy instead of James now? That's because I got to know him at the Georgia workshop, and his wife attended too. All right. And she told me I had to call him Jimmy. She just felt weird anybody calling him James, like he wasn't even hers anymore. But I gave him my black and white infrared camera to use for a couple of months, and she immediately grabbed it out of his hands, and she's been the one that's been using it most of the time. But they're generating some great black and white infrareds down in Florida right now. So, so you have to forgive me ahead of time. I have a tendency to want to share the joy. Wow. These were all great images. I really wish Linda could have been with us. I wish Jimmy could have been here too. And William, of course, he's dabbling in infrared. And then we have Richard here,
who needs to get off of his posterior and shoot.
Yes, poor Richard's been working his butt off. I'm surprised you have one left after that big project of yours.
Well, I'm very happy with how it turned out, but it just sucked up every minute of free time.
Now, you're not going to have to maintain it, are you?
Oh, I'm maintaining it, and we're going to move offices in a couple of months. So now I have to do a cover page to make sure that people can see where the new office is going to be, but that should not be a big issue.
Yeah, that's probably a 1-hour job for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I went and looked at it. I was very impressed with it. I thought it was very nice. You did good work on that.
Well, I had very good designer, but you ask people to help you with content, and I got some help, and you ask people to go look at it and check it, and nothing happens. So
Yeah.
it just, you know how it goes.
All right, well, let me stop this broadcast here and see if I can.